Welcome to another episode of the Cover 7 podcast. We got a very special edition today. We're breaking down quarterbacks, specifically ranking the ELF's 2023 quarterback class. Daniel, you, Carter, and I, one of our fellow writers at AFI, have ranked all 17 starting quarterbacks. What went into your rankings?
A lot went into my rankings. I mean, I've followed some of these quarterbacks for quite a few years now. Some of them I just come across. I'm pretty excited to see a lot of them play. I mean, some of them, near enough, all of them are going to be in brand new situations, and some of them have excellent resumes up until now. Some are unknowns, even though they're Americans. We have no idea what they can do on the field, how they'll fare in Europe, in European football, in ELF specifically. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, and I feel like there's a lot between number 1 and number 17.
Yeah, so just to be clear, the way we rank this was not a lifetime achievement award. Last year, year before, 2015, this doesn't matter. The past is the past. We're looking forward to 2023. These are our favorite quarterbacks going into the season.
And the situations that they're in.
Absolutely. Starting off with number 17, the quarterback for the WROCław Panthers has unfortunately the last ranking in our voting. What can you tell us about Nick Rango?
Nick Rango, I mean, if you know his career, you probably won't be surprised by this ranking, if I'm honest. And it's not necessarily to say that he can't do this and he can't do that, but we don't know what he can do. I mean, he hasn't played for years. He played in 2018 last at Hudson Valley Community College in New York. As a freshman, he threw for 2,000 yards, basically 2,100 yards, 13 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in 10 games. That's not great numbers by any stretch of the imagination. He then left there and committed to the University of Albany Great Danes, FCS Division 1, but never played a game due to COVID. He later joined Major League Football, Virginia team in Major League Football. Right. Didn't play again there because the league shut down. Then tried out for CFL, XFL, again didn't play. So realistically, the last time this man played football was in 2018, and he played very mediocrely, right? And so, yeah, it's a head scratcher for me. And I hope he can come out and do something amazing. But this is the face of your franchise. The guy who's going to have the ball in his hands every single snap. And you don't know who he is. We don't know who he is. And so for me, this is less of a negative reflection on Nick, and more the WROCław Panthers and kind of like, what are you guys doing? Last year, you got 3 stellar QBs, injury after injury, and you've managed to find great quarterbacks every time. And so this year, you've managed to find a guy that hasn't really played football since 2018. And so, yeah, it's just a bit of a head scratcher for me. And this is why he's last on the list. Yeah,
total mystery. This guy hasn't played since he was a teenager. He's now 24 years old. And it's very out of character for the Panthers. They've signed a former Division I head coach. We know they've always signed great imports, especially European imports, Goran Zec, Sami Raji, Carlis Browns. All of these are huge success stories. And last year, Justice Hansen was maybe the best quarterback as far as resume in the ELF. And now they pick a guy that is a complete mystery.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's a mystery as to why they picked him, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we hope that Nick proves us wrong. But yeah, we'll just see what happens in the season.
Moving on to number 16, we got Dylan Jacob, the new quarterback for the Cologne Centurions. I can jump into Dylan here a little bit. I know some background on him. He was originally meant to play for the Cologne Crocodiles. If you haven't heard, they are no longer a team, really. So tough break for Crocodiles there. A tough break for Dylan, but he bounced back, found the Cologne Centurions were waiting for him with open arms, it seems like. So this is his second year in Europe. Last year he played for the Leopards RHEIN, Division II team in France. So not the highest level in Europe by any means. However, he was MVP of that league for what it's worth. He was a productive Division II player at Western Colorado, threw for over 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, ran for over 400 yards. What worries me about him is he threw 20 career interceptions and ended up kind of losing his starting spot, it seemed like, at Western Colorado. So, looking for him to bounce back and have a good year. But, I want to see how he does at this level, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think something that's also going in his favor and Cologne's favor is just even though it's very unfortunate to lose the Crocodiles because they've been a great GFL team for a while, is that a lot of their players have now gone over to the Centurions.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will strengthen his roster. I don't know what relationship he had with the Crocodiles before he signed for the Elf team, but maybe he had a prior relationship with some of the Crocs players, and so maybe they're coming with him to make that transition a bit more seamless.
Yeah, I assume he was over there practicing with them already, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, I think being quarterback for Centurions might be a tough job this season.
Yes, definitely.
All right, number 15, we got SHAZZON MUMPH, super athletic guy, won the championship last year with the Prague Lions. We'll see how he does. I think he's had some ups and downs. He's played in some good leagues in Europe, in the German Football League, in the Danish League. And some seasons things have gone well, and some seasons they really haven't for SHAZZON.
Yeah, I think when I watched him play in Poland, I was really unimpressed, if I'm honest. He looked a bit scatty in the pocket. There's a lot of errant throws, overthrowing, underthrowing receivers, throwing interceptions. That athleticism didn't show up on tape. However, when I watched him play in Sweden, I think I saw the opposite, right? I saw a guy that was relatively composed. He was making some good timing throws. And he was in Prague last year, right?
Yeah.
And so that's obviously doing something in his favor. I mean, it shows confidence in him as a quarterback. That the head coach and the GM have said, hey, we want to keep you for another year in what will be our biggest competition so far.
Yeah.
And so they've seen something they like in him. I've seen two sides of SHAZZON, and we'll see. He seems like a nice guy as well. The guys around seem to like him. So yeah, good luck to him this year. But I think it's going to be a tough ask of him to compete in Elf in a Czech team.
Moving on to number 14, a legend in Austrian football, Savvy Vet. I think he's about 45 years old now. He's playing football in Europe since 1995.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Chad Jeffries?
Yes, I played with Chad for a short while in Danube, and he's a really great guy, a really nice guy, very committed to the program. He's a fan favorite and also a teammate that everyone wants. Yeah, really cool guy. And he's been in Austria for the last 4 years and done amazing things, right? That team has always struggled with, Danube has always struggled with sourcing talent. But in 4 seasons, he threw for 10,270 yards and 105 touchdowns, and then rushed for another 14 touchdowns. So yeah, his numbers were off the charts in Austria. And I think his relationship with Sean Shelton, the previous quarterback for the Raiders, is what brought him over to Munich. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, Chad, I think he's got a high ceiling. He's just a bit inconsistent sometimes, right? And he's been in a few different systems, and it takes him a while maybe to adapt to that system. So we'll see what happens. But I think he'll be comfortable with Sean, and I think he's proved that he can play football at a high level. So yeah, and he's got Marco Castle with him, so that's a godsend to any quarterback. So just chuck it up in the air and just, yeah, you're good.
You could argue this is the best team that he's played on. I mean,
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is. I mean, when he's playing in GFL with the Mercenaries, he's playing quite a good team then.
Yeah.
And GFL was at its height then. GFL was good. Do you know what I mean? 2017, he was playing for a good GFL aside. But yeah, I think so too. I think Austria has obviously dipped in the last few years, and so yeah, it's probably the best team he's playing on now. And you've got to trust Sean Shelton to bring in some of the best players.
Yeah, we'll see if the old dog can learn some new tricks with Jeffries in Munich.
Yeah.
Moving on, we got number 13, another veteran sneaking into his 3rd or 4th year now. Connor Miller. Daniel, you've covered this guy since he started his European adventure here. What can we say about the new Barcelona Dragons quarterback?
Yeah, I liked Connor Miller in Graz when I first came across him. Yeah, he was an absolute slinger, him and Darnell Adams. He was just chucking all over the place. 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns in a shortened season as well. This wasn't the full season. So yeah, I mean, and then he went to France and he won a national championship. Yeah. So I mean, he's got a pretty good pedigree, and he's shown that he can play even in maybe not the best situation. He's not like Riley Hennessey that's going from Swarco. It's going from Schwäbisch Hall to Stuttgart Surge to Park Panthers. Those are good teams. Miller's played in not great teams and got the job done, right? Yeah. However, he's now going to a very tough situation. Yeah. And him being this low down the list isn't necessarily a reflection of him, but his situation. And Barcelona have lost a lot of pieces. They've picked up a couple great imports, but they've lost a lot of domestic guys. And I think that Miller is going to struggle this year. He may even be further down this list at the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. He's got a huge arm. He's a big guy. And now he's going into his third full season. We'll see how he does in Barcelona. Next guy on our list, number 12. I've sort of nicknamed him the Jordan Love of the ELF, replacing Sean Shelton in the Raiders Tirol. Christian Strong steps in, our lone Canadian quarterback in the ELF.
Half British.
And yeah, thank you. Big year for him in Cologne Crocodiles, RIP. Led them to the semifinals before they faded away. He threw for almost 3,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, and just lit it up last year. One thing he really did is he cut down his turnovers from 2021 and 2022. He only threw 6 interceptions to over 30 touchdowns. Really impressive. He's brought his guy with him, Jarvis McClain, who he played with last year, talented, speedy wide receiver. However, big shoes to fill in Innsbruck. Sean Shelton is gone. The legend, the GOAT, some say, is out, and Christian Strong is in. It's going to be a tough ask. And it's a new era for the Raiders, and he's leading the way.
Yeah, and I think it's a completely different situation, completely different scheme, a different style of play. In Cologne, right, he threw like 70 touchdowns and well over 6,000 yards, and he's 7,000 yards in 2 seasons. That's amazing numbers, whichever way you look at it. Regardless of interceptions, that's amazing numbers. And Cologne's records pay dividends, right? It was amazing, right? Playoffs, so on. However, he was throwing to great American receivers, right? Flying down the field, throwing post, throwing deep passes, do you know what I mean? Whereas now he's going to Swarco, where it's more about timing. His receivers can't necessarily do the same things that they could when he was in Cologne. And you're going to have to rely on guys like Marcus Schmeider, Philip Hahn to do those more intermediate, shorter routes, right? And that's, again, about timing. Can Christian Strong do that time and time again? Can he lead a team 60 yards down the field, 12 plays, 15 plays, right? It's not going to be a 3-play drive anymore.
Yeah.
And those are my only reservations for Strong coming to Innsbruck. Not necessarily his talent. I don't know if it's the right system for him, but maybe they switch the system up for him. Who knows?
Can he throw a check down to Sandro Platzkommer? We'll see.
Who knows? Who knows?
All right, number 11, just outside the top 10, we got Jadrian Clark, ELF veteran, shunned away from the league after a mediocre 2021. Came in late for the Rhein Fire last year and tore it up the last few games for them. Over 2,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Led the league in passing yards per game. This guy is set up for success in Dusseldorf.
Yes, he's going into an amazing situation. And I think him being 11 on this list, again, shows maybe that there are doubts for us anyway. And that's, for me, the doubts that I have are just who he ended last season against, right? When he had those great numbers, they weren't against the best teams in the league. They were against the worst teams in the league, right? He kind of fell a bit short previously in Germany, in Elf, at the final hurdle, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I hope he can get it done because I think he does deserve it. But I don't know if I've seen what I need to believe that he can do it.
We did a great episode on Jadrian Clark on Jamal Clay's Athletes Forum. He needs a championship to prove all the haters wrong, and he's got everything set up for him in Dusseldorf. So we're rooting for you. Number 10, top 10 quarterback in the ELF, Donovan Isom. Big dude.
Big boy.
Big dude. Think Big Ben in playing in Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, 6'5", 250 pounds. Played well for the Berlin Rebels last year. 2,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He's staying in Berlin, whatever that's worth, for the Thunder, and he's got weapons, as you know.
Serious weapons. He's got 3 of the best domestic receivers, right? 2 of the best domestic receivers and then a great import. So Max Zimmerman, for one, Robin Wilczek, and then number 3, he has Aaron Jackson, right? Got invited to NFL for a reason. Things didn't work out, but whatever. Robin Wilczek got invited to NFL IPP, and Max Zimmerman has been killing it in Germany for years, right? He has 3 of the best. He probably has the best receiving room in the league. Yeah. Staying in Berlin, I think, means a lot. I think he's probably got relationships with these guys already. So, yeah, I think he's going to do good things. I think he Played on not the best team last year in Berlin. So yeah, I think
Okay, number 9, we got Jacob Sullivan, another veteran, and the only ELF champion on this list after Jackson Erdman retired. A disappointing year last season after their championship, maybe a Super Bowl hangover, as they say. But his stats are good looking back. Nearly 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions in 11 games. If you break that down per game, that's pretty impressive numbers from Sullivan. And we know how exciting he can be to watch.
Yeah, very exciting player. As you've said, Frankfurt unbelievably disappointing last year, considering what they did the year before that. I think Sullivan was plagued with injuries. I think that definitely affected his on-field production. However, there were a few games where he was quite disappointing, in my opinion, especially against Stuttgart. I think it was a mid-season or season where they went to overtime, almost gave Stuttgart a win. So yeah, I don't know what's changed in Frankfurt to make them kind of rekindle that championship run they had. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think we all know Sullivan's got a high ceiling. He can do a lot, but I don't know if his supporting cast will allow that to happen again this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Frankfurt Galaxy have a lot of questions. I think we're looking at some of the power rankings that the different pundits did. They were always sort of right around 5. And so we'll see if they can break through to being real contenders again next season. The next guy, Keontae Allen, is an athletic quarterback, played last year for the Allgäu Comets in Germany and put up monster stats. He comes in at number 8. He'll be the quarterback for the Leipzig Kings coming up. Who knows what that situation looks like in Leipzig. However, he's a really interesting guy to watch coming up in this season with the numbers he put up in Bavaria last year.
43 touchdowns and 4 interceptions is insane, right? And they still lost 4 games, right? 6-4, which shows that the team wasn't great, right? But he was playing outstanding football. But I think it's going to be the same thing in Leipzig, right? He's going to play great, and his team isn't. The Leipzig have struggled since they came into the league, and I think they'll struggle again this year. It's just hard to build a team out of nothing. You don't have that foundation. You don't have those domestic guys to support your imports. So yeah, I think Allen will play great. I think he's a great player, but I don't know if Leipzig will do anything memorable.
Yeah, it might be like a Gabriel Cunningham situation where it's someone really fun to watch, and he's keeping them in games, but who knows if he can get them really consistent wins. Anyway, going in as we approach the top 5 here, Riley Hennessey, Italian Bowl Championship, German Bowl Championship, now heading with Jordan Newman to the Stuttgart Surge.
Yeah, Riley Hennessey at number 7. Yeah, I think it's a good place for him to be. He's heading into a great situation. I mean, I think people have Stuttgart Surge a lot lower on the list than I do in power rankings. I have them really high, like one of the top teams. I just think that John Newman and the unbelievable amount of talent that he's brought in is going to turn this organization upside down. I think the momentum that he's built is going to take them well into the season as well. But yeah, Hennessey at Washington Central, Division 2, had a really good college career, 49 touchdowns in 2 years, broke a number of rushing records as a QB. Then came to Italy, led the Panthers, Parma Panthers, to their first championship in years. Went over to Germany with Jordan Newman, won another championship. But in both years, his numbers weren't that good. He led the team, right? He is a leader. You can tell on the field. He makes the hard plays. He converts on 3rd down. He scores touchdowns when he needs to. But his numbers aren't that good. He's a winner, and he seems to know where to play. Right. And reunite with Newman. I think Newman's going to put him in the best situation to succeed. Newman knows what type of receiver what type of QB he is. So he knows what situation to put him in. But yeah, I think Hennessey, as good as he has been, I'm still a bit kind of on the fence with him just because of his numbers over the last 2 years. Basically.
It's hard to put him in the top 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to put him in the top 5.
But he's a winner. It's the debate. Stats versus are you a winner, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jordan versus LeBron. Hennessey versus Edwards. I mean, these are the debates being had.
Yeah.
All right, moving on then to number 6. We got a new name for a new team. Colin Hill will be quarterbacking the Helvetic Guards. I could jump into Hill here. Big guy, similar to Donovan Isom, 6'5", over 230 pounds. But he's got a great resume from college. Played at Division I Colorado State. Over 3 years, he got to play a bunch. threw for 23 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards, and then ended up being a starter for half the season for South Carolina in the SEC, the highest level of college football, where he was only a part-time starter, but still, I mean, that's where 40, 50 guys are getting drafted from this conference. That says something. But however, there's a massive red flag from his time in college.
Yeah, injuries, right? So many injuries. Just unbelievable. Like, he literally doesn't have knees anymore, pretty much. But when he has played, he's played like unbelievably well. And he's one of those guys you could say might have been in the NFL if he had an injury-free season in his life, which I don't think he had, to be honest. He's also coming to Switzerland with Norman Chow, who's an outstanding coach, coached at the highest level for a very long time. So I think those two, great situation for them to do well. How is the domestic talent? No one really knows. People have watched Swiss football before, but how does it compare to the likes of elf teams now, which have really risen the European game, I think? Yes, it's up for debate. But I think Colin Hills himself is a great player, and there's no reason to think that he won't do exceptionally well in elf.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he does. Maybe the time off, he can heal his injuries. He's not rushing from one college program to the other and getting ready. Time off now maybe has helped him, and if he's healthy, he could tear it up. Moving on, number 5. We're in the top 5 now. Chris Helbig. All right, cracking into the top 5 now, we have the defending champs, Vienna Vikings, lose Jackson Erdmann. They bring in Chris Helbig, maybe the biggest free agent available, coming off a phenomenal season in Germany. Threw for nearly 3,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, ran for 13 more touchdowns. He led a Potsdam Royals offense that averaged 50 points a game and 400 yards.
You like Helbig?
I like Helbig.
I like Helbig. I think he's a great player. No one can argue that. He played in a weaker GFL than we've ever seen before. And he got injured before the final, right?
Yeah.
He got injured, and that's arguably one of the reasons they lost in the final. They didn't have a QB.
Definitely.
Against Robish Hall. Riley Hennessey obviously won that game. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's going into an amazing situation. He's a great quarterback. He's shown he can do that. He's got weapons all over the place. The team he played for just won the championship for a reason. They were so deep. It wasn't because of one or two players. They were just unbelievably deep. Yeah. They've retained pretty much all of that talent and picked up a few more pieces. So, I don't know. Yeah, the sky's the limit for Helbig. I think he could do amazingly well. He's top 5 for a reason. So, yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, talented players set up for success there. So we go from the champions to the co-champions, the runner-ups. The Hamburg Sea Devils have brought in a new quarterback to the ELF, a new quarterback to Europe in Preston Hare. This guy put up insane stats at his college. Daniel, please break it down.
Yeah, total offense, 13,335 yards. 11,800 of those are passing. Threw for 114 touchdowns.
Sorry, how many?
114. Wow. 4'6", 40, 37-inch vertical. Absolute beast, like monster, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say about the guy. He's unbelievable. And it's the thing that's most striking about this signing is it's the complete opposite of what Hamburg were last year, right? Run 9 times out of 10, run straight down your throat every single time. Now they've brought in this unbelievably dynamic quarterback who can do so much. He opens up everything. He can run, he can pass, he can stay in the pocket, he can roll out, he can launch down the field, he's got to do time pass, he can do anything he wants to do. And so this has completely changed up the offense, makes them unbelievably dynamic. Do they have the weapons to fuel his success, though? We're unsure, right? We're unsure. They've lost Glenn Tunga, obviously. They lost, obviously, one of their receivers, both their receivers, actually, to be honest. So, yeah, we'll see what happens offensively. But, yeah, I think the sky's the limit for Preston Hare. And, yeah, I think, this offense is going to change completely. And it could result in them winning another championship. Yeah, winning a championship.
We know Brett Morgan, he likes sort of the spread offense. I could see Preston Hare running some zone read potentially and just pulling that ball and torching some poor D end in the ELF. So very excited to watch this guy. To me, this is the type of quarterback that's perfect for the ELF. Guys that are from a small school that are just off NFL radar for whatever reason. they'll come to Europe and they have all the tools to succeed. So we go from a rookie to another savvy veteran, Luke ZAHRADKA, after I don't know how many years and how many championships in Italy, is joining the ELF with the Milano SEAMEN. What do you know about Luke?
Yeah, I've been watching Luke for a while. I'm a big fan of the Italian Football League, and Luke has been the guy in the league for a long time. Weirdly, only won, I think, 3 championships, national championships.
Only, okay.
Yeah, it's obviously a lot, but 3 or 4, something like that. But considering how dominant the SEAMEN have been over those years, thanks to Luke, obviously. Last year, 8 games, 2,427 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He was nearly perfect, right? Like nearly perfect. Absolutely killed it. He's been the face of that team for a very long time. They love him there. He's built a life for himself there. He's got like a normal job there. I'm sure he'll leave that now. But he had a normal job there. He was like trying to pursue a career, like spoke Italian. Do you know what I mean? Like he is Mr. Italy. If some of you know, he was a quarterback for the Italian national team this year, which was made up of mostly Americans. But yeah, they went toe to toe with America in the final, which was really fun to watch. It's on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. And so, yeah, I think this is now the next step. He's played lots of SEFL games and played well. He does not flinch under pressure. He's great on the big stage. So I think this is perfect for him. I think he's going to have an amazing season. Some of the signings are a bit questionable from the SEAMEN, which is what makes me think that maybe Luke could actually be a bit further down the list, not because of his talent, but who they have as a receiver. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm a huge fan of Luke, and I think he's going to do really well in his first year in the AFI.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him and just the new Milano SEAMEN take on this new challenge. So anyway, we go from Luke, savvy vet, to another rookie, the newest quarterback in the ELF, recently announced with the February Enthroners, Jared Evans. Now, I grew up in the DC area. I always kept my eye on Virginia Tech. So I love Jared Evans. He came to Virginia Tech as the #1 junior college quarterback, and he was the next best quarterback. We had Michael Vick, had Tyrod Taylor, and for one great season, we had Jared Evans, where he tore it up. 3,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. Then, on the ground, runs for over 800 yards and another 12 scores. He leads the Hokies to a 9-3 record. ACC championship. He has a shootout against Deshaun Watson and the Clemson Tigers, which they narrowly lose. However, this guy brings easily the best college resume the ELF has seen. Went toe-to-toe with Deshaun Watson, was playing against NFL guys week in, week out, was signed by the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles, spent time in the NFL but that was in 2017, so it's a while ago. Since then, he's been playing arena football, and in 2021, he won Rookie of the Year in the Japanese X League.
Yeah, you've got everything, but yeah, you're obviously a big fan of him.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, yeah, like I said, the guy that would be most close to being on an NFL team right now of everyone on this list. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shock that he's not won, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely has the best resume, maybe the most natural talent, right? If he was playing at that level, we'll see how he does. Enthroners to me are a bit of a mystery. We don't know how good they're going to be.
I think that's why he's not #1, right? Because Enthroners, I mean, we have no idea. We've actually seen them in SEFL quite a bit, to be honest. They have played on the international stage for a while, but they haven't played against anyone and beat them in a long time. Like anyone big.
Right, let's move on. What are some of you might already know. I've done the math. Let's talk about the #1 ranked quarterback in the ELF, Mr. Magic Man, Zach Edwards of the Paris Musketeers. Why did you put him #1, Daniel?
I love Zach Edwards. I loved watching him play last year. I chatted to him a few times, and he's such a nice guy too. But yeah, obviously more importantly, he tore it up. Like, absolutely tore up. He took the Dragons from a nothing team to a playoff team, one of the best, most exciting teams in the league. He can do it all. Him and Carl Sweet. He was snubbed for MVP. I don't care what anyone says. He was snubbed, 100%. Right? 5,839 yards and 56 touchdowns in 2 seasons in ELF, right? Crazy. Considering where he came from as well. He just came to a Division 2 Spanish team, randomly, played half season there and then taken to the Barcelona Dragons, had no idea what was going on, had a great season, and then last year just killed it again.
Yeah.
And then not only that, he's now coming to Paris as like the guy. Like, he's full of confidence, right? He knows what's going on, and he's been reunited with Carl Sweet, Moreno, Bertolin, who played with previously before in Barcelona, and so as well, who played for the Galaxy for the past 2 years. All those receivers.
Yeah. Stacked team.
And Mark Mattioli is a great coach, right? He took Panthers to their championship a couple of years ago, and yeah, the team has got. France has been known to be like a kind of just this place where talent comes out of nowhere, right? We've seen all these guys go to the CFL, to the NFL through IPP, and they're playing like they're not the best league either. They don't have great competition, and so you're bringing these guys raw talent, right? It's big boys that can run around and bang heads. If you ever watch Paris Flash play in the Northern Black Panthers, you'll see that these guys run around and hit.
A lot of big fast dudes.
And so now when you kind of bring that all together, like nationally, and you put it in a league like ELF, which does promote talent, it does develop talent, right? Because you're grinding against some of the best players in Europe week in, week out. I think you're gonna build something special. And on top of that, you have Zach Edwards, the MVP from last year. I don't care what it says. He was MVP in my mind last year. And with Carl Sweet again, it's just, for me, it's just like it's a done deal. He's going to kill it. I think Paris are one of the favourites in the league this year because of Zach as well. And he's a leader. He's going to bring a team together. No toxic traits from what I've seen anyway. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, if you guys want to know more about Zach Edwards, check out our interview with him we put out earlier this year. Great guy, great story, and maybe the signing of the offseason for Paris to bring him in. So yeah, that's our quarterback ranking list. Maybe we'll do a mid-season update. But thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode of AFI's Cover 7.